Are your people working hard but not reaching their full potential? The problem is not effort, it is development. At the Modern Observer Group, we transform workforce development into real performance. Our human-centered achievement programs help your team think better, communicate stronger, and execute at a higher level. That means higher employee engagement, stronger leadership, and measurable results across your organization. If you want a workforce that performs, leads, and delivers, it is time to invest in your people. Visit modernobserver.com and discover how the Modern Observer Group helps you build a workforce that wins.
An airline crashes on the runway, a pause in strikes on Iran, AI wars heat up, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. An Air Canada regional jet collided with a Port Authority fire truck while landing at New York's LaGuardia Airport late Sunday night, killing both pilots and injuring dozens of passengers and crew. The Bombardier CRJ-900, arriving from Montreal with 72 passengers and 4 crew, struck the vehicle on runway 4 around 11:45 p.m. The impact severed the cockpit and flipped the fire truck onto its side. A flight attendant was ejected while still strapped to her seat and found alive more than 300 feet from the wreckage. The fire truck had been cleared by air traffic control to cross the runway while responding to a separate United Airlines flight reporting an odor. Audio recordings captured a controller telling the truck to stop at least 10 times before impact. About 20 minutes later, the controller said, "I messed up." Federal immigration officers began deploying Monday to more than a dozen U.S. airports to assist with security screening during the Homeland Security funding lapse. Reuters and AP reported the move followed long checkpoint delays tied to TSA staffing shortages. Reuters said nearly 12% of TSA officers were absent Sunday, and AP journalists saw ICE officers at airports including Atlanta, JFK, Newark, Houston, and New Orleans. President Trump on Monday postponed military strikes against Iran's power plants and energy infrastructure for 5 days, hours before his 48-hour ultimatum to reopen the Strait of Hormuz was set to expire. Trump said Special Envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff held discussions Sunday evening with a top person on the Iranian side, producing what he called major points of agreement, including that Tehran would never have a nuclear weapon. Stocks rallied on the news, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average jumping 631 points on Monday. Iran's foreign ministry denied that any talks took place, calling Trump's announcement an effort to lower energy prices and buy time for military plans. The Senate confirmed Senator Mark Wayne Mullen on Monday to serve as the next Secretary of Homeland Security, putting the Oklahoma Republican in charge of immigration enforcement, one of President Trump's biggest priorities in his second term. Mullen won the confirmation in a 54-45 vote. He will be the second secretary to lead the department during this Trump administration, replacing Kristi Noem. He comes to the helm in the midst of a shutdown that has left 100,000 of his department's more than 250,000 employees working without pay. During his confirmation hearing, Mullen, age 48, called on senators to fund DHS as quickly as possible and said he wanted to take on the responsibility of leading the sprawling agency. Belgium deployed soldiers Monday in Brussels and Antwerp to reinforce security at Jewish sites after what officials described as anti-Semitic attacks in Belgium and the Netherlands. Reuters reported the move followed an explosion at a synagogue in Liège, an arson attack on a synagogue in Rotterdam, and an explosion at a Jewish school in Amsterdam. Dutch police arrested 5 suspects in the Rotterdam case. Russia's Baltic seaport of Ust-Luga resumed oil loadings Monday after a drone attack alert was lifted, while neighboring Primorsk remained shut following aerial strikes. Reuters reported both ports, Russia's largest Western petroleum export outlets, had suspended crude oil and fuel exports since Sunday. Ukraine's military confirmed it struck an oil terminal at Primorsk and a refinery in Ufa. The Supreme Court's conservative majority appeared during oral arguments yesterday to favor striking down a Mississippi law that allows mail-in ballots that are postmarked by Election Day but received later to be counted. At least 15 other states have similar laws, so the ruling could have a large impact on voting by mail, a practice President Trump dislikes. A decision is expected by June, which means it would govern vote counting in November's midterm elections. A U.S. Congressional Advisory Board said Monday that China's dominance in open-source artificial intelligence is creating what it called a self-reinforcing competitive advantage over U.S. rivals. Reuters reported Chinese models from companies including Alibaba, Moonshot, and Minimax now rank high in worldwide usage, and the commission said China may be well-positioned to benefit as AI moves into robotics and other physical systems. Google parent Alphabet's president and chief investment officer Ruth Porat said Monday at CERAWeek in Houston that the United States may not be scaling energy supplies fast enough to support AI expansion. Reuters reported big tech companies are investing heavily in data centers and facing grid connection delays and shortages of key power components. Alphabet has invested in advanced nuclear power and other energy measures for data centers. Elon Musk said SpaceX and Tesla will build 2 advanced chip factories at a large site in Austin, Texas. Reuters reported one plant is intended for chips used in vehicles and Optimus humanoid robots, while the second is designed for AI satellites in space. Musk's comments followed his announcement of a broader Austin project called TerraFab. That's the Raw Naked Truth for March 24th, 2026. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that protect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.